President, please be seated. The court is back in session. And now the chamber will hear witness 2TCW909. Good afternoon, Mr. Witness. Are you ready? Witness. Good afternoon, Mr. President. I am waiting in the room. President, what's your name, Mr. Witness? Answer. My name is Pech Sokha. President, thank you, Mr. Pech Sokha. When were you born? Answer. I was born on 10 November 1960. President, thank you. Where's your current address? Answer. I am residing in Swaijay village, Plat commune, on Long Wang district. President, thank you very much, Mr. Pechokha. What is your current occupation, Mr. Sokha? Answer. I am a physician, said the witness. President, what are your parents' names? Answer. My father's name is Pech On, and my mother's name is Here. They are all deceased. President, what is your wife's name, and how many children do you have together? Answer. My wife's name is Kutnut. I have 4 children. President, thank you, Mr. Pechokha. Based on the oral report of the greffier, to your knowledge, you have no relation with any party to the proceeding. Answer. Yes, I have no any relationship with any parties to the proceeding. President, before you gave your testimony, I was told that you have already taken an oath. Answer. Yes, I have already taken an oath. President, thank you very much. I would like to inform you of your rights and obligation as a witness before the chamber. Mr. Pechokha, as a witness in the proceedings before the chamber, you may refuse to respond to any question or to make any comment which may incriminate you. That is your rights against self-incrimination. As for your obligation, Mr. Pechokha, as a witness in the proceeding before the chamber, you must respond to any questions by the bench or relevant parties, except where your response or comment to those questions may incriminate you, as the chamber has just informed you of your rights as a witness. As a witness, you must tell the truth, that you have known, heard, seen, remembered, experienced, or observed directly about an event or occurrence relevant to the questions that the bench or parties pose to you. Do you understand the rights and obligations which have just been informed to you? Witness. Yes, I have understood them. President, thank you very much, Mr. Pechokha. Have you ever been interviewed by investigator of the Office of Co-Investigating Judges? If so, how many times have you given your interview? Where did they take place? Witness. I gave one interview. I do not recall when it was. The interview was held in the hospital at An Long Wen. President, thank you very much, Mr. Pechsokha. Before you are sitting and giving the testimony before the chamber, have you read and reviewed the written record of interview which was conducted in An Long Wen? Witness. I asked my staff to read the statement to me. However, due to my poor memory, because of my illness and I have bad health, I could not recall them all. I am not also well at the current time. President, could you tell the chamber, as for the statement which you asked your staff to read to you, does the statement reflects what you gave to the investigator of the OCIJ? President. Hello, Mr. Pechsokha. Court officers, perhaps there is a technical glitch. Mr. Pechsokha, to your best knowledge, can you confirm for the chamber that the statement which you asked your staff to read to you, does this statement reflects what you have given to the investigator witness? Yes, the statement reflects what I gave to the investigator. President, the chamber would like to inform you, Mr. Pechsokha, because you have health issue or problem, and if you need to go to restroom or relieve yourself, please inform the chamber. The chamber may allow you to relieve yourself. President, based on Rule 91 bis of the internal rule, the floor is first given to the co-prosecutor, and the chamber would like to inform that the co-prosecutor, together with the civil party, have 3 sessions for this witness. So you may now proceed, international co-prosecutor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good afternoon to Mr. President, Your Honors, and everyone else in and around the courtroom. And good afternoon to you also, Mr. Pechsokha. I'd like to start by asking you about your studies at the Rusay Keo School in Phnom Penh, which you discussed in your OCIJ statement. In that statement, you said that you were sent there in 1976 by a person named Sreng, who was the Sector 41 committee and a friend of your father. Why did Sreng send you to this school?
Answer. In relation to this matter, I do not know why I was sent to school. I was asked to go to school, then I went anyway.
Do you know whether the name Sreng was an alias or nickname or the person's real name?
ខ្ញុំមិន
Answer: I do not know whether it is his alias name or it is his original name, but what I know is that his name is String.
Does the name Cho Chen mean anything to you?
គាត់ឈ្មោះឆាំនឹង
Answer: I know the name Cham. Cham was the group chief.
Okay, and returning to Sreng for just a moment, can you tell the court what happened to him?
ខ្ញុំមិនដឹង
Answer: I have no idea. I only knew this person and I do not know what happened to him.
Okay. Now returning to the Cham, the person named Cham that you've just mentioned, can you tell the court who Cham was and how you got to know him?
ឈ្មោះ
Answer: As for Cham, I knew this individual when I went to study in Phnom Penh. I had not known him before.
Do you know why he was sent to the Rusei Cow school or who sent him?
ខ្ញុំពីនោះ
Answer: I have no idea. I was sent to study in Rusaikau, and when I arrived there, I saw him there as well. I did not know who sent him there.
Do you know what position he held or what job he did before he was sent to the school?
ខ្ញុំ
Answer: I do not know. I only knew him when I arrived at that school, and he was my group leader.
And when you say he was your group leader, at what time was he your group leader? And where?
នៅ
Answer: When we went to specialized school, he was my group leader, and he remained my group leader after school.
Later in your OCIJ interview, you describe a person named Ta Cham as your chairman at the 1st January Dam work site. Is that the same Ta Cham who was your classmate at Rusei Cow school?
ឆាំដដែល
Answer: Yes, it was the same person. I knew only one person by the name Cham.
And you also indicated in your OCIJ statement that your classmates included a person named Long from Sector 42 and a person named Hao from Sector 43. Can you tell us who those people were and why they were sent to the Rusei Cow school, if you know?
បាទលោកតា
Answer: Actually, it was also the same as Cham case. I do not know why these people were sent to school there. We knew each other when we were in school.
Later in your statement, you mention two people with the same names, Long and Hao. who disappeared from the first January dam work site. Are those the same two people who were in your class at the Rusekau school?
Answer. Yes, as I said, I knew them when we were in the Rusekau school, and after we left school, we worked together.
Other than those three people, Cham, Long, and Hao, do you remember any of your other Rusekau classmates?
Answer. I do not recall the others. I do not recall any other friends or colleagues.
You've also stated that during your time at the school, you were very severely tempered. What do you mean when you say that you were severely tempered?
Answer. When I said I was very severely tempered, it concerned my study and the food we had. It does not have anything to do with beating. President, please hold on, Mr. International Co-Prosecutor. You may now proceed to counsel.
Oui, Monsieur le Président.
Mr. President, my question has to do with method. A while ago, the International Co-Prosecutor quoted a number of passages, but he didn't give the ERNs. He gave, if it's only proper nouns and names, I don't have any problem with that, but if it is a lengthy passage that is of relevance to proceedings, I would like the Co-Prosecutor to give the ERNs. Thank you.
President, thank you. And the Deputy Co-International Prosecutor, please follow the practice in this courtroom. Thank you.
I'll do that. Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Witness, I'd now like to ask you about your assignment to the first January dam work site. And you discussed receiving this assignment in your OCIJ statement. The reference in Khmer is 00389522. English is 00403003. And French is 00422237. And what you say is that in early 1977, they collected 4 of you to build the first January dam, and that you were surveying technicians. Can you tell us who were the other 3 in this group of 4 surveying technicians besides yourself?
The 4 of us included Cham, Hao, Long, and myself. And we attended the school in Phnom Penh together, and later on we were assigned to work at the first January dam together.
And who was it who assigned you to work at the first January dam, and how did you receive the assignment?
After we left the school, we were instructed to go and work at the first January dam work site, and I didn't know from whom the instruction was issued.
Who communicated the instruction to you? Who personally told you that you were assigned to work at that site?
It was Cham, my group chief, who told us about that.
Did you have any choice as to whether to accept the assignment? In other words, could you have refused the assignment if you had wanted to?
When you talk about refusal, I did not have the luxury to have that option.
And why was it that you didn't have that luxury?
At that time, we could not refuse. We had to follow the assignment that we were given to.
What did you think would happen to you if you did not follow the assignment you were given?
President, Council, please try not to use any hypothetical question. And witness, please, you do not need to respond to the last question put to you by the Deputy Co-Prosecutor. And Mr. Deputy Co-Prosecutor, please try to rephrase your question.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'll move on to my next question. Can you tell the court when you arrived at the first January Dam work site and how long you remained there?
I can recall that I worked for a bit over a year at the first January Dam work site.
And do you recall the date on which you arrived, or the approximate date on which you arrived, month and year perhaps?
I can recall it happened in 1977, but I cannot recall the date.
As a member of your group of survey technicians, did you usually work alongside ordinary workers, or did you work primarily with the other survey technicians?
I worked only within the surveying technicians. I mean, there were only 4 of us in that group.
Did you ever help with the manual labor at the site, with the digging and carrying of earth?
That work was only occasional, and that happened when we did not have any surveying work to do, or sometimes we were required to assist them to carry earth during the night time.
And can you estimate how often it was, or how many times it was, that you helped with this kind of manual labor during your year at the work site?
I cannot recall how many times I did that, because that was not the core task that I was assigned to do at the time.
Okay, thank you for that. I'd now like to ask you a few questions about the plans for the work site. which you also mentioned in your OCIJ statement. And the page reference in Khmer is 00389522 through 23. In English, it's 00403004. And in French, 00422239. And what you say is the following. You said, quote, "I received the plans from the upper echelon, Ankara," unquote. So what exactly do you mean when you say that you received the plans from the upper echelon, Ankara?
Means that the plan was not made by us. It was done by the upper echelon. At which level, I did not know. But we received this plan from my group chief, and my group chief received it from the upper echelon.
And when you say your group chief, I assume you're referring to the Cham that we were discussing earlier?
Yes, that is correct.
And do you know what person your group chief, Cham, received the plans from?
That's what I just said. I did not know from whom he received, as I was his subordinate.
And so what made you think that the plan came from the upper echelon? Or what do you mean by the upper echelon in this context?
During the time, the upper echelon referred to Ankara, and nobody knew who Ankara was.
Can you tell the court what the plans for the dam actually looked like? What were they physically? Were they drawings on a piece of paper? Was it a technical drawing, a model? What did you receive, or what did you see?
The plan was not photographic. It was a sketch drawn on a paper.
And was it just a single piece of paper, and how big was it?
The paper size was about 60 by 80, and it was just a single sheet.
Do you remember an individual named Sao being involved in the construction of the first January dam, or having the plans?
No, Sao, that name does not ring a bell.
I will try to pronounce it again. It's Sauv.
I don't know anyone by the name of San. National co-prosecutor. I'd like to say my colleague with the name. The name is Sao, Mr. President. No, I am not familiar with that name.
Can you describe for the court in general terms what the first January dam was and what its purpose was, if you know, and again, only if you know?
The general landscape of the first January dam was for agricultural irrigation through the nearby rice fields. That was the primary purpose. And I do not know if there were any other purposes for the construction of that dam.
In your interview with the OCIJ, and the page reference here is Khmer 00389526, English 00403007 through 08, and French 00422238. You were asked whether the first January dam was 60 kilometers long, and you said, quote, 60 kilometers did not include only the first January dam, but the 60 kilometers also linked to the 6th January dam, unquote. Can you give us a little more information about that? What were these two projects and how were they linked?
As I said in my previous statement, the distance of 60 kilometers long is the combined length of the two dams.
And do you know what the purpose of linking the two dams were, or how they were linked to each other?
I do not know what the purpose of the linkage. I only did what I was assigned to do. However, the first January dam had been constructed before the 6th January dam, and later on the linkage was established.
I'd like to now ask you a few questions about Kay Pok's visit to the first January dam worksite, which you discuss also in your OCIJ interview. And the page reference here is Khmer 00389525 to 26, English 00403007, and French 00422242. And this is what you said, quote, Kay Pok came to control almost every day by jeep with his 2 or 3 bodyguards. So we did not need to report to the upper echelon. But I did not know if Kay Pok reported to the higher level or not. Ta Pok never scolded us. When he came, he always advised us to follow the plan properly, not to do anything deviant from the plan. We did not do anything different from the plan. At that time, Cham was my group chairman because he was older than me, unquote. Can you tell us more about these occasions on which Kay Pok...
In brief, the statement that you just read out is correct.
Thank you. Can you tell us a bit more about these occasions when Kay Pok would come and tell you to follow the plan properly? Can you tell us, for example, where you were when he said this and who you were with when he made these statements?
He told us at the work site, he told the four of us that we should strictly follow the guidelines and follow the plan and not to do anything deviant from the plan.
And where were you at the work site? Were you outside? Were you in a public area? Or were you enclosed somewhere?
We were at where the general workers were, that is at the work site. However, we was in a separate shelter from that of the general workers.
And you said that he would come almost every day. Would he address your group of 4 surveyors almost every day?
No. In fact, he did not come to see us, the technical group, every day, but he did come to inspect the dam construction almost every day.
And on those occasions when he did come and speak to your group, did members of your group give him updates on the work?
Yes, we would respond to any question that he asked our group.
And do you recall what kinds of questions he would ask your group?
He asked whether we did anything which were not in the plan, and that basically was his main point.
Did your group leader, Cham, ever tell you anything about how he felt about Khe Puak, or do you know anything about the relationship between those 2 men?
No, I don't. As I said, I knew them only when I attended the study session in Phnom Penh.
So in the same answer I was just reading from before, you also described Khe Puak as, quote, the Central Zone Committee and the overall manager of the construction site, unquote. How did you know that Khe Puak was the overall manager of the construction site?
At that time, they made an announcement on the loudspeaker before the commencement of the work at the work site, and that was the message played over the loudspeaker.
And how did you know that Khe Puak was also the Central Zone Committee?
Again, that message was broadcast through the loudspeaker at the commencement of the dam work site, and I did not know him or know about his position previously.
When he would come on these visits to the dam work site to check progress, do you know how long he would stay, approximately?
I cannot cannot recall as I did not make any observation or waited to see him. And constantly our team was on a mobile doing the surveying of the land, the landscape.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to ask you now about something that you may have just referred to, and that is an opening ceremony of the dam construction. And you described this in your OCIJ interview in Khmer, page 00389527, in English, page 00403008, and French, page 00422243. And this is what you said, quote, "I recall that there was an opening ceremony of the dam construction participated by the zone secretary and the sector chairman. As for the senior leaders from the center, I did not see their participation. During the opening of the construction site, 4 of us also joined to listen with people," unquote. Now, here you're referring to a zone...
Yes, this is my statement that I made early, and that's what I saw during that particular ceremony.
And I assume when you're referring to the zone secretary here, that is K-Pwok, correct?
Yes.
Can you tell us the names of the sector chairmen who participated in that ceremony, if you recall?
Over the loudspeaker announcement, I heard about the participation of people from Sector 41, 42, and 43, respectively.
Did you hear an announcement of the names of those sector chairmen?
I cannot recall that.
And can you tell us, as best you can recall, everything that you remember being said at that opening ceremony?
From my recollection, it was about the day of the opening of the construction works at the dam, and that we should try to work hard.
Was anything said about the importance of the project or the speed with which it was to be completed?
I cannot recall that.
I'd like to ask you now about the visit of foreign delegations to the dam. And you also discussed this in your statement at page, in Khmer, page 00389527, in English, page 00403008 to 09, and French, page 00422244. And this is what you say, quote, "I saw Chinese and Korean guests coming to see and take photos, and then they returned," unquote. And when asked to accompany these foreigners, you said, quote, "The zone committee and others I did not know," unquote. And just for clarity, the zone committee you're referring to here is K-Pwok, correct?
whatever I said in my previous statement is correct.
Did you ever learn the names or identities of any of the Chinese or Korean guests who came to the work site?
No, I don't.
Okay, I'd now like to ask you a couple of questions about the fate of two of your classmates from the Rusei Kao School in Phnom Penh, the two people named Long and Hao. And in your OCIJ statement at page 00389524-25 in Khmer, page 00403006 in English, and page 00422241 in French. You were asked a question about the arrests of people accused of being enemies. And you said the following, quote, "As for me, I never came across, but in my group, two people named Long and Hao disappeared. Both of them were summoned by Ankar to return. Both of them showed me the letter and said goodbye to me. The letter was handwriting. Both of them were well educated. I learned a lot from them. I just knew after the reintegration that both of them were arrested and killed," unquote. So can you tell us how you learned that Long and Hao were arrested and killed?
Initially, I did not know. However, later on, I conclude that if they survived, then I would receive information about them because they were my friends. But I presumed that they died.
Now, you gave that answer in response to a question about the arrest of people accused of being enemies. Did you ever have any reason to think that Long and Hao had been accused of being enemies?
As I said from the outset, they said goodbye to me and left, and I did not know, and I thought that they returned to their native village. And I presume that they died because I have never seen them again.
You also said that they had handwritten letters summoning them to return, and that they showed the letters to you. Do you remember what the letter said?
I cannot recall it. However, I was shown the letter that they would be transferred back to their original location, and I wished them well, and they said that I should try to focus and work hard.
Okay, I'll move on to another portion of your OCIJ interview. And this quote is from page, in Khmer, page 00389527, English 00403008, and French 00422243-44. And this is what you said about your experience. Quote, "Every day they played revolutionary songs at the site. It looked like it was happy. They played songs everywhere, but in fact, it was very difficult in eating and staying, and there were health problems. But nobody dared to say. Now, if I look back, it was terrifying. I should not have survived until this time, unquote. So in that quote, you describe your experience as terrifying. What made the experience terrifying for you?
That is what I said earlier. That is the overall image. It seems that it was a happy act, but in reality, everything was horrible. The food was insufficient, and the manual labor was hard.
So other than the food and the manual labor, was there anything else that made you describe this as a terrifying, or as you've just said now, horrible experience?
That's what I knew, and that what I felt at the time.
You also say that you should not have survived. You said, quote, "I should not have survived until this time," unquote. Why do you think, or why are you surprised that you survived your time at the 1st January dam work site?
It's because of the manual labor. If we worked day and night with insufficient food given, it was not reasonable for us to survive.
And you also said that no one dared to say anything about problems. I'll ask you to focus just on yourself, though. Why did you never complain about these problems, about the food or the manual labor?
Answer. We could not complain as the current time. We worked hard in order to survive.
And maybe that's a useful comparison. You've just said we cannot complain as in the current time. What was it about that time that meant you were not free to express your views in the way you feel free to express them today?
Answer. During that period, my group had only 4 of us, so we would do the work as we were assigned, and other people would do the work that they were assigned, and no one complained.
Did any other people ever tell you why they didn't dare to complain?
Answer. It is beyond my knowledge. I have no idea. What I knew is the work that my group was doing at that time.
So can I just ask you, what did you subjectively fear? What were you afraid of?
Answer. I did not know what I was afraid of, but we were striving to work.
I'm going to read another quote from your interview. The page reference for this is Khmer 00389525. English 0040 3006 to 07, and French 0042 2241. And this is what you said. You said, quote, I, How, and Long did not attend meetings or have a discussion. We just had a chat. At that time, I felt miserable, but I did not know what to do. We did not dare to say, we had better just act like deaf and dumb, or grow kampok trees. I did not want anything. I just wanted to survive. Unquote. So can you tell us what you meant when you said that you had better act deaf and dumb in the context of saying you just wanted to survive? Why was it necessary to act deaf and dumb?
Answer. I remember this message from my teacher. I was young at that time, and I asked my teacher about the regime. My teacher asked me to remember that please act like dumb, deaf and dumb in order to survive. That's what I remembered. I did not have any deep view about politics.
That was actually what I was going to ask you about next, and I'd like to read the full question and your full answer from your interview. And this follows on. This is the question after the one I just read. So the question you were asked in your interview was, quote, you said that you did not dare to have a discussion. Did you know anything about people being sent for execution? Unquote. And your answer was, my teachers told me that for communism, just do what we were told to do. Do not challenge them. You had to grow kampok trees to survive. If we had ideas for change or gave ideas, we would be in trouble. Unquote. And you've just mentioned getting that message from your teacher again. Can you tell us which teacher told you that?
Answer. I constantly ask permission from my teacher to have the session at their home or at his home. He advised me this matter. That's what I remember since then.
And did you understand this as advice or as a threat or what? How did you understand what your teacher said?
Answer. It was his advice. He wanted me to be safe because he knew that I was very young at that time.
Now, the reason that I read the question just now was because I wanted to ask you why you gave the response in response to this particular question. And the question again was, did you know about people being sent for execution? And your answer was, my teachers told me, just do what we're told to do, don't challenge them. Why did you give that answer in response to a question about executions?
Answer. I did not witness the execution. I learned about the execution at the current time. during that period, there was no information at all, and we could not walk freely. This is what my teachers told me.
Is it fair to say that you intentionally tried to avoid finding out about bad things if you could help it?
Answer. In fact, I was not trying to avoid bad things, but I do not know.
So the last thing you indicated your teacher said was, quote, if we had ideas for change or gave ideas, we would be in trouble, unquote. So what did you understand him to mean by saying that you would be in trouble if you had ideas for change or gave ideas?
Answer. In my understanding, we should not speak of any matter. We needed to plant the kompok tree in order to survive. That's what I learned in that period.
And what matters in particular are you talking about? Are you talking about political matters or something else?
When I said, when I was referring to kompok trees, we had to not concerned about any other matter. We needed to do the work that we were assigned to do.
So you've told us today that you found the manual labor to be very difficult, that the food was insufficient, and you've described the conditions as well as horrible. Given all of that, did you ever try to leave the 1st January dam work site? And if you did, what happened? And if you did not, why not?
Answer. I do not know how to explain and give my response. If you were me, you would have been even afraid more than me.
And can you tell us why you were afraid to try to leave the work site?
Answer. I do not know where to escape. I was very young at that time, and I did not know the geographical area at that time, and I do not know where to escape.
Okay. I'd like to now move on to a question about the size of the workforce at the 1st January dam. And again, I'll be reading from your OCIJ interview, Khmer page 00389523, English 00403004 to 05, and French 00422239. So at that point, you were asked. At that point in your interview, you were asked how many people joined in building the 1st January dam, and you said the following, quote, based on what I heard from the loudspeakers, they said the participating forces were 10,000 people from Sector 42, 1,000 people from the mobile units in Sector 41 and 10,000 people from Sector 43. So in total, there were forces of more than 20,000 people, unquote. Is that an announcement that you heard just once on the loudspeaker, or would you regularly hear these kinds of announcements at the work site?
Answer, I heard only once during the time of inauguration ceremony.
And in your position as a surveyor, were you ever able to learn anything about the way workers on other teams were organized? Did you learn anything about the size of their teams or their groups or anything like that?
Answer, I have no idea.
Thank you. Mr. President, I'd now like to pass the floor to my colleague, the National Deputy Co-Prosecutor.
President, thank you. You may now proceed. Co-Prosecutor, good afternoon, Mr. President, Your Honors, everyone in and around the courtroom. Good afternoon, Mr. Petsoka. I still have a few questions in relation to working condition. Document E3/403. Khmer is Your Honor, could you please ask the co-prosecutor to repeat EON once again? The document was recorded by the OCIJ, and the work was divided to groups, and earth had to be carried and placed on the dam. I would like to know who divided the work condition, or who divided the work plan. Witness, I do not know who divided the work plan, but normally there was announcement over the loudspeaker. I do not know who divided the work plan. Question, based on your answer you gave to the chamber, as a surveyor, you also works with other workers. I would like to know how far was it from the place where you carried us to the dam? Answer, it was not really far. It was about 50 meters away. We had to dig the earth and carry it to put on the dam. Question, what about the soil condition? Was it hard or soft? Answer, the work was not always easy or difficult, so the soil condition varied. Question, so if the work was difficult, the soil condition was not good for you, so how difficult was it? Answer, some soil had rock. Question, so if the soil that had rock, did it impact on the work quota that you were assigned to do? Answer, actually for those who dig the soil which had the rock, these people did not receive any punishment. Before people were assigned to dig the soil, they used the bamboos to see whether the soil was solid or soft. Question, what about the work plan? Was the work plan equal to each other? Was the work quota equal to every workers rather? Answer, actually the work plan was that worker has to complete and carry 2 cubic meter of land. Question, did you ever see anyone refuse the work quota? Answer, I have no idea because I was engaged in the carrying earth once in a while. President, I noticed you are on your feet. You may now proceed. Counsel for Mr. Kirstenpon.
Merci. Merci, Monsieur le Président. Juste
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd just like to remind the prosecutor to make a pause between the question and the answer because we have two Khmer speakers here, and it's difficult for the translation. And since it's hard for us to receive the French translation on time.
President, thank you, Counsel. Actually, I did not advise the National Co-Prosecutor through the microphone, but I made a signal to him. So please, Counsel, Co-Prosecutor, please keep pause between question and answer. Co-Prosecutor, I saw your signal and I try to slow down, and I will keep more space for interpretation. Co-Prosecutor, concerning the work quota, have you ever not completed the work quota? Answer, I was not part of the core force carrying soil or earth. I was the surveyor. I do not know whether workers could complete or achieve the work quota. Question, when you were assigned to work as others did you receive the same quota as other workers did, or was it your extra job? President, please hold on, Mr. Witness. Mr. Kope, you may now proceed.
I think this is the third attempt that National Co-Prosecutor is trying to ask questions about tasks that this witness only incidentally fulfilled. He made it very clear that he was a group of 4 surveyors, so he doesn't have anything substantial to say on the content. I think he repeated that already several times, so I don't see the point in repeating this question. So I object to the question being repetitive.
National Co-Prosecutor, I think that the witness gave answer already that he joined the work carrying earth and he was involved in the work. So I just would like to know about the work that this witness was doing. President, the objection is overruled. Witness, please respond to the question put to you by Co-Prosecutor. The chamber needs to hear the answer. Witness, I would like to tell the court that carrying earth was not my core work. I was assigned to carrier once in a while, and the work quota was not the same as other, that is 2 cubic meter. So when the working hours ended, we stop working. Co-prosecutor, in document E3/403, EON in Khmer is 00389524. English EON is at 00403006. French EON is at 00422240. You stated that at night time you worked from 6:30 p.m. until 10 p.m. You stated that workers had to complete the work quota, and for those who were sick, they could not complete the work quota. And for night, and if some worker could not complete the work quota at night time, they had to do the work at night to complete it. Free translation. From your experience, did you notice that workers continue working at night time if they could not complete the work quota, or they could complete the work quota at daytime? Witness. I have no full detail of this matter. Once in a while, workers were asked to strive to work hard, but workers mostly worked during the daytime. Co-prosecutor. So when did the work begin during daytime, and when did the work ended? Answer. From my recollection, work started from 7 a.m. until 11 a.m. and it started again from 1 p.m. in the afternoon until 5 p.m. Question. In relation to food ration, you stated earlier that there was no enough food to eat. I would like to know what did you have for your meal? Answer. I do not want to tell the story of others, but for myself, sometimes I had cooked rice with cassava and banana stem. For this reason, I said I did not have enough food to eat. It was different from the current time. During the time today, we could have coffee or noodle or rice. Question. Based on your observation, did anyone die from starvation? Answer. From my observation, I never witnessed anyone died from starvation. Those who fell sick were sent to be treated at the hospital. Co-prosecutor, Mr. President, I still have a few more questions, 2 or 3, and it will take only 5 minutes. Co-prosecutor, was there enough medicines for those who fell sick during that period? Answer. During that period, I was not a medic at that time, so I could not say that the medicine was enough or not. The medicine could be used to treat abdominal pain or headache.
Question in order to assist your response. Allow me to ask whether the medics were skillful or whether they were properly trained. answer. It is difficult for me to respond to that question as whether they were properly trained. And we were all dressing in black uniform, although they were so-called medics. Questioned on the living condition, and you stated earlier that your group stayed separately from other workers. What was the sleeping arrangement for your group? Where did you sleep, for instance? Answer. We did not stay like kilometers away from the workers. However, we had a separate building or shelter for our group, although it was of a different nature from other buildings for the workers. It was made out of bamboo. Question. I'd like to know about the condition of the accommodation and the way you make the sleeping arrangement. Answer. I do not know what else I can tell you from what I have just said. The building was separate from the buildings for the workers, although it was separate, but it was not far, and the sleeping floor was made out of bamboo. It was nothing special. Question. Were there mosquito nets, pillows, or sleeping mats as what we have today? Answer. Oh, come on, how can you compare the situation there to the situation now? You cannot do it. Question. Please respond directly to my question. Were there mosquito nets, blankets, pillows, sleeping mats that were provided to you? Answer. For my group, we had a bed in the building, but actually we slept in hammocks. Although we did not spend much time sleeping in that shelter building, we mostly slept at the work site. Question. You said you did not sleep or stay far from the workers. What was your observation regarding the sleeping condition of those workers? Answer. From what I observed, they live jointly in a long bamboo-made building, and male and female were separated in separate buildings. President Council Copper, what's on your mind?
Well, the answer has been given, so I don't have any objection anymore, but National Court Prosecutor is asking questions about sleeping conditions of about 20,000 people. I think that's beyond the knowledge of this witness. So I think the National Court Prosecutor should be much more specific when he asks questions. As we know, he must have been listening to the witness this morning. Things could probably vary per group of individuals coming from separate villages. So I think when asking about conditions, be it food, be it shelter of the workers, of the 20,000 workers in general, the National Court Prosecutor should be quite specific as to which group of people he refers to.
President and the co-prosecutor, please move on. In the Khmer channel, the line of question is for his observation for those workers living nearby his sleeping quarter, not about all the workers at the work site. And this kind of question is permissible. And Deputy Co-Prosecutor, you may continue. Prosecutor, I don't have any more questions, Mr. President. President, thank you. Today's hearing is now concluded. The chamber will adjourn and resume tomorrow, that is Thursday, 21st May 2015, commencing from 9 o'clock in the morning. Tomorrow, the chamber will continue to hear the testimony of witness Pitsaka via a video link. The information is for the parties and the general public. And thank you, Mr. Pitsaka. The hearing of your testimony as a witness is not yet concluded. And you are invited to return again to that same office for your testimony tomorrow, commencing from 9 o'clock in the morning. You may now rise, Mr. Pitsaka. Pitsaka, thank you, Mr. President. President, the security personnel, you are instructed to take the two accused back to the detention facility and have them return to attend the proceedings tomorrow before 9 o'clock in the morning. The court is now adjourned.